Hello Blaggers, we're here outside the Hope in Windsor and I'm here to meet the DJ, producers and the kingpin who held it all together. Yes, we're here to meet the Menace crew. Don't forget to hit the like button and follow us on YouTube, and you can check us out on Facebook under the Berkshire Blag. Come on, let's do this.
I'm Sean from Corp.
And I'm Kevin from Corp.
Our biggest hit was Dreamfinder. We never knew it would be as big as it was, but even though we did have a little bit of a chart rating, our loyalties always lied with Slough, Berkshire and Menace Sound System, Keith, and not forgetting under the resident DJ, the Rhythm Beater.
Yeah, Sound Corp, I went to school with Sean, so I grew up with him really, so I was always in the studio, watching what they were going through and trying to help in any way I could. Not very often that turned out, but yeah, Menace was great. Always had a good time at Menace at the parties, which I used to play a lot of their. They used to give me the promos when they come out, so I'd be 9 times out of 10 the first person that'd be playing them. So
Keith from Menace. All started music-wise. Always been into music. Come from a family who always loved their music and whatever. Lots of early influences or whatever. First major thing I got involved in was like the punk scene in the late 70s, early 80s. Progressed from that, being in bands and stuff like that. Progressed from that. The club scene, early to mid 80s in London. A lot of stuff like Northern Soul, Motown and stuff like that, which was good. And then just by chance, happened to end up in Ibiza towards the end of 1987, and this was all going off over there. We met up with some fellas from East London, and they knew all the clubs to go to. I could see all this was going on and it was fantastic. I just knew this was the thing for me. Went back the following year, it was all kicking right off. Went back the next year, it was kicking off even more. Went back the next year, obviously Ibiza 90, the infamous holiday that a load of us went on. And all along I just knew I wanted to get involved, and I did. We just took the ball and, we spent the weekends being chased around the motorway by the police, around the M25, and it was amazing, and I just knew I had to be involved in it.
Okay, the main track for Corp was obviously Dreamfinder. I used to work at Slough Post Office where I met Kevin. I approached him and said, do you want to do something? And he said, yeah, why not? Let's have a go. He wasn't into the music at the scene, at the hardcore or the house scene, but I persuaded him, and we started from there, really.
Born and raised in Slough, Berkshire, obviously. Love the place. It's got its faults, it's got its nice points, whatever. It's always been a place that's had a strong musical history. My mum used to go and see the Beatles when they played in Slough. There's the Ricky Tick going back to us. So there's always been a strong musical history about it. Obviously, my day and age, there was like the punk bands and whatever. There's the Ramones played in Slough, Wayne County, people like that played in Slough. There was a lot of other punk bands around the other shires.
We were the typical bedroom studio.
Yeah.
Literally just sitting around, my bed there, recording equipment to the side, and we'd record annoying the rest of the family.
Yes. I think some of the write-ups said this Slough bedroom-based duo, yeah.
Well, when we first started the parties and everything, I was more interested in the sound side of things. I liked sound. I wanted everything to sound crisp. I wanted everything to sound perfect. So I was a bit of a control freak with all that sort of thing. So I started investing in sound. I got my first set of decks and whatever. I've always, since as long as I remember, been buying music. So I already had all the records and whatever, so people started asking me to DJ at their parties and stuff like that. So we started putting on house parties, and we weren't even called Menace then. It was just the houses would be gutted. We'd set this place up, fill it full of bass bins and whatever, and just party all night. How the police didn't kick the doors in, I don't know, but it was just me, and I've got to mention it. Sue, who helped set it all up with me. She used to do all the admin and account side of things for us and whatever. I think the only Menace she ever missed was one where she was actually in hospital giving birth to our first son. So yeah, it just went from there. We was doing house parties long before we was actually doing paid parties. All we wanted to do basically was to party and be part of the party. The plus side of it for us was when we started putting our own stuff on, is we went home at the end of the night with a bag of money.
I mean, I got into music to start off with because of the feel, you know, it was all like a family. The 88, 89, 90 kind of like years that went past, they were, you know, they're all trustworthy, and it was a good feeling. Everything about the whole era was a good feeling. That got lost a little bit, I feel, going into the 90s when people tried to earn money out of it all. But the Menace, it brought back that sort of feeling, that sort of that sense of a family, really. Do you know what I mean? Just out having a good time.
Favourite DJs? Yeah, we did inquire about Joey Berkshire. He was a bit out of our price range. I've got to mention, you know, an adopted local lad, Chad. Hi, Chad. Chad Jackson. We had him playing quite a few times. Lovely to deal with. Fantastic DJ and whatever. Our resident rhythm beater, fantastic. People used to travel just to see him and not the headliners. I can't say any more about the fella because he was just brilliant. Other DJs who were good. We had Ratty, you had Cy, who was good. There was a lot of the time the DJs that we booked were people who were requested by the punters. The only time that I was ever selfish and booked a DJ that I particularly wanted was once when we booked Evil Eddie Richards. And the reason I wanted him to play at a Menace was because he was a big favourite of mine from the early Acid House days, from Sunrise and from things like that. So I just wanted him to be there. Even though he didn't fit in totally with the music policy, I just wanted him there. But he done really well and he loved what we was doing. We weren't into all of this multicoloured lights. It was a dark, sweaty room with loads of smoke, strobe lights, white lights flashing all over the place. Looks dangerous, but it weren't. We never had any bother at our parties. And he liked what we was doing, but as I say, I had him there for selfish reasons. The other DJ who stood out for me from the early days was Loft Groover, because he was totally on point with the music policy that Menace had. He was bang on. It was a chance meeting. I was a record buyer. I met him in a record shop in Streatham and got him to play for us, and he absolutely smashed it. We had him played about, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. Lovely fella to deal with. A few DJs used to turn up with a little bit of attitude, but not going to name names or whatever. Most of them, fantastic to deal with.
Biggest music influences was probably away from the whole kind of like sort of drum and bass scene, really. I mean, I used to like things like Motown, Marvin Gaye, from Radiohead, Talking Heads, Pink Floyd, them sort of groups. So it was a bit bizarre, really, that I got into DJing the clubs the way I did. Because, but yeah, music's music. I enjoyed it.
For me, up until I heard Mike Allen's Army on Manoeuvres on Capital Radio, the early electro days, I had no direction until I started hearing the electro. And then I used to meet my mate Dave Pickett. We used to go to Slough, we used to go to our price and grab the electros and the Crucials and the UK electros from the counter, yeah. And after that, it was great, yeah. And then it progressed into the dance scene for me.
He was my main influence when it came to that. He brought around his record collection, said, I want to make music like this. And I said, well, I want to make music like this. And somewhere in the middle, we came up with our sound.
Mainly sort of drum and bass and jungle, but a few stood out was Plastic Jam. I used to play quite a bit, and the horn.
Production-wise, the equipment, I'm going to hand it over to the brains of the outfit.
The brains?
Yes, the brains, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
No, it was a very simple setup, just running like Music X on the Amiga, and we had really no recording facilities. We had little cheap mixers, and I said to Sean one day, you're going to have to go and spend some money and buy a sampler, and that was it.
Yes.
Everything moved on from then. Everyone went through their record collection, sampled as many snippets as they could.
Yeah.
And together we produced a track.
Yes, he did have some quality keyboards, but I think are still quality today. The Juno 106, he's got 2 TB303s, which everybody's envious of. I like, well, yeah. And All analog, pure analog keyboards at the time, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the thing being is I came from an old school synthesis type of music. You know, I was a big Kraftwerk fan, Yellow and
Front 242.
Front
You
242.
brought me to a concert, one of them blew my mind, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I took you twice to that. That was a great laugh
very
for you.
strange, very
But
strange.
generally, you know, I wasn't really into the rave scene. So for me, it was better not to be into the music we were producing. It allowed us to do something that was different and
Yes.
change what was going around.
I just guess I just mixed. It was it just come as it come really. It was like what I tried to do was rather than just play a record and then mix a bit at the end of it. It was try to make a kind of creation, if you know what I mean, out of the 2 records or 3 records, depending if we was 3 deck mixing, whatever we was doing. And it was it was your own sound you was making out of other people's music really.
Favourite moments of what I mean, it's so long. I mean, there's only so much that I can actually say on tape because my kids are probably going to watch it. But you know, we had favourite moments. I mean, standout one. You know, we did Menace in Amsterdam, which was fantastic. Off the back of that, we got asked to do a support slot for the Prodigy at a festival in Amsterdam. That was fantastic. I mean, we were just a little firm from Slough. Turned up, you know, we had our own dressing room. I don't know who the fuck they thought we was, but we, you know, they must have thought we were stars or whatever, but we was no one. We was someone from Slough. But it was great. So that was good. Other moments that sort of stick in my mind was we were supplying sound. This was at some point we were supplying sound at a country club in Hertfordshire somewhere, and the next day we were sort of like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning, you know, taking all the sound system apart and whatever, and this Land Rover pulls onto the site, and it's the gamekeeper from the next estate, and he pulls in shouting and screaming, who's in charge? Everyone points at me, and the next estate belongs to Lord and Lady Sainsbury, and he's having a go at me about keeping their overnight guest awake, and the overnight guest turned out to be the Queen Mother. So she obviously wasn't into the music that we was into, God bless her. But you know, so that's quite a standout moment for us. And yeah, there's like we done VIP parties above pubs in Windsor and whatever, you know, where it was like anything goes and whatever, you know, people diving head first down flights of stairs and stuff like that. You know, when we first started, the pay parties and everything, we was naive to say the least. You know, we had my sister, 5'0", stood on the door, taking the money off people, putting it into bags, into Tesco's bags and stuff like that. My brother-in-law, a big old lump, stood there sort of like watching. He was the only security we had, very naive, just didn't know. I mean, we was 23. I've got genes that are older than 23, you know, so we just did what we wanted. We just wanted to party.
Still really love music, learning to play music, guitar, never going to be any good at it, but enjoying it nonetheless, and still listen to the stuff I used to like right in the beginning, really, like the Pink Floyds and the, you know, soft cell, everything I grew up really.
Well, we had a break for about 20 years. We did our own things in life. Yeah, Kevin's got kids. I went off and got married around the world. That's another story, but yeah. I went to but yeah, we are back. Yeah, we're trying to get some stuff going. We've actually got some stuff ready. Not ready. It'll never be ready in Kevin's eyes.
It's never ready.
It's never be ready in Kevin's eyes. But can I say there will be a Dreamfinder 2020 sometime this year? Yeah, remix ready. Yeah, Soundcore will return. Yeah.
Okay, how does the scene compare today? Well, I mean, I'll be perfectly honest, I still listen to a lot of music from a lot of different genres and whatever, so I'm not got my finger on the pulse as much as I used to. My son, my middle child, my son Mac, I mean, he's out raving now, loving it and whatever, fair play to him. I mean, we often get asked whether we're going to do a reunion, but for me personally, I mean, people who carry on doing stuff or doing reunions or still putting stuff on, 100% respect for them, because I know exactly what it's like. But for me, Menace was a moment in time. It was all about being young, breaking the rules, having a party and enjoying yourself.
The 14 10-hour trial under